How was your pee break?
My pee break.
They might flash you undetected.
Random baby.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
I too am a thought criminal. Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
Around? But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave. Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite. Welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor. What is up, everybody? Not too shabby for cold meds galore. Am I right? It's only for you guys. Trust me. If I didn't have this fine program, I would be up here looking like a goddamn hamster. But it's not just you who I'm dressing to impress this evening. No, we have some fine company. I see him backstage. He is looking spiffy. He's coming with all the knowledge. And honestly, guys, this shit really just writes itself. Here's why. Because this guest I have, first of all, he is the talk of the town, at least here in Nashville. When it comes to health, he's the CEO of Clear Inc. That's spelled XLEAR. And this is streaming on X. So like a meta moment, if you will. But like the talk of the town, the product, and I'm talking amongst like the who's who here. Okay. However, I did not plan that I'd be actually coming down with something today, so I could actually use said product. And additionally, this man, I teased it a little bit on socials. Okay, he had the FTC come for his ass, and he came out on top. He testified for RFK Jr., being the secretary of the HHS. We just found out that the U.S. exited the WHO. We got the new food pyramid. We got a lot going on. So without further ado, I will give you all blue balls no longer. Let's see if this works, if tech will not fail us. Okay, hang on. Wait, this is what you get with a one woman show. CEO Nate Jones.
Hello.
Welcome. Okay, something's happening with your microphone over there. Something very not good. Wait.
I don't know. You know.
Oh wait, Nate. Oh, okay. Now I'm seeing your plant. I see your nice arrangement here.
Oh well, that's not the video. I wanted to hit the audio.
No, we just saw you, but now you gotta you gotta put that thing down and flip it and reverse it, Nate. I'm gonna mute you just for a second.
Can you hear me now?
I'm sorry, guy. Ah, there he is. Nate?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but your audio, how about a little, oh, your audio is very, can you hear that too?
I don't. But
It's
here,
like
let me try.
Chewbacca is taking over your airwaves there. Wait, this might be better.
Oh, is that better?
A little bit. No, it's we got an audio issue happening here.
Well,
Yeah, the comments know what I'm referring to here. Do you guys hear that too, or am I crazy in the comments? Like a heavy static, right?
is that better?
Yes. Whatever you just did.
Okay.
Let's get a mic check 1 2 1 2, Nate.
Check 1 2 1 2.
Okay, there we go. It's okay, just making the people hold out just a tad longer. It is so great to have you. And like I said, I could definitely probably use some of your product. It's kind of right to itself because I'm down with a cold today. But oh yeah, I'm hearing that audio is still really bad. Shoot.
Maybe it's that I'm. Do I need to be closer to the microphone or something? I don't know.
Oh no. I'm sorry, guys, for hearing that. I'm trying to get some backup here. Okay, that's okay. I think Nate is sorting out some tech stuff. But it's going to be a really great conversation. I'm really excited to get into it with him. Yeah, it's definitely his audio. Shoot. Shoot.
I just put an earbud. Maybe that's not doing anything for it.
I have a text saying it's Fauci. So if Fauci could kindly step off our airwaves. Shoot. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, every time I bring you on, Nate, it's doing that. I'm trying to get some backup here to figure out what that is. I don't know if it's an audio input or output. But there's a lot I'm excited to get into tonight, in all seriousness, because as you guys know, who've been following the show, I was very vocal during the pandemic about all the nonsensical rules, restrictions, mandates. And I've interviewed, from Dr. Robert Malone to Dr. Kat Lindley, like some of the OG doctors who were really vocal and were like shadow banned and censored and canceled, for lack of a better word, during the time. So I'm excited to get Nate's. Yeah, no, Nate, every time I bring you on, the audio is really bad. One of the comments is loose audio wire connector. We also have someone said maybe try to do it on a phone versus a laptop. This is the beauty of live production, everybody.
You want me to try to pull it up on a phone?
Maybe. Do you have the link?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Some pharma lords Appy are tampering with my stream right now, and they will have hell to pay from a 5'1" blonde, I tell you. Although now it sounds okay, but it's like it comes and goes, but it's like very.
How does that sound now? Is it sounding good?
Yeah, now you're okay. Let's just maybe Godspeed. We'll just go for it and hope it stays.
Okay.
Okay.
That works.
Well, 9 minutes in, welcome.
Well, thank you.
I hope my little backstory and intro did you justice here. Obviously, you have such an interesting background, and from what I know about you, give you kudos for sticking to your guns and standing up to the man, so to speak. I know you're all about transparency and health, etc. And I have to know out of the gates what you think about the U.S. exiting the WHO.
I think it is absolutely a phenomenal thing.
Your audio, shoot, we can't hear you. Crap.
I think it's a great thing.
Hang on, let's see this. Yeah, okay. Okay, now we have Nate's phone. So it was definitely that connection because this sounds fine. There we go.
Let me get that set up right.
Like you never left. It's actually perfect. Okay.
It makes me look, I don't know, when you put a camera down low and face it up, it makes you look good. Anyway.
It works for you. It works for you. We made it just like we made it through 2020. It was touch and go, but we're here. So yeah. So what do you think about the WHO exit?
I'm actually happy with it. And the reason why is because the same reason why I think that the CDC has been doing a crappy job. They've been bought off by the pharmaceutical companies. If they were truly wanting to improve the health and increase longevity and increase our quality of life as we live into those longer years, they would look at doing what has been working for the last 200 years. Mm-hmm. And it's not pharmaceuticals. It's not the doctors. It's actually the plumbers. It's the sanitation workers. It's the people that are bringing clean water to our house so that we can wash our hands, take a shower, clean our linens, and brush our teeth and wash our nose. It's the people that are allowing us to improve our sanitation and hygiene that are bringing that. And the CDC started with that. I mean, the CDC started in Atlanta, and they were trying to get rid of the mosquitoes. They weren't using drugs to do it. They were going down and cleaning up the land, cleaning out the swamps. And that's what they should be doing. Now they're only focused on vaccines, drugs, pharmaceutical products, and medical interventions.
So let me ask you, Nate, and I don't know if you caught this in our tech purgatory, but obviously, I've been very passionate about this issue. My background is in media and in journalism. So, right, when we really started to see the thought control and the tech control and the narratives, and obviously it permeated into our real life with mandates, et cetera. And I have interviewed the likes of, Dr. Robert Malone, Kat Lindley, all those folks. And I always ask them, and I want to ask you too, is it tinfoil hat conspiratorial to say that these, big pharma entities are nefarious and aren't looking out for our best interest and do capitalize and are all in cahoots with the establishment? Or is it crazy to think that, or is there a reason to think that that's true, or we would just be healthy, as you said, with kind of like back to the basics?
I think there's a great book that you can read. I can answer it with a book. It's called Pharma, and it's actually the story of the Sackler family and Purdue Pharmaceuticals. But that will explain to you very much so how, even going back decades and decades, the pharmaceutical industry has been more about making money and not making people healthy, but making people money. I mean, they can go back to even the 70s with Valium, and the companies making the Valium knew about the dangers. The companies making the what do they call it? The thalidomide. There was a sleeping agent that was giving birth defects. The companies knew about that. And this is back in the 50s and 60s. And they lied to the government about it to try to sell them and make money. So to think that the government, or to think that the pharmaceutical companies are looking out for our best interest, you would have to be a complete, I don't know if it's politically correct, but you'd have to be a complete retard to believe that.
No, it's so true. Also, someone in the comments asked for the book name. It's Pharma, right? You said?
Yeah. Yes.
Pharma. Okay. Yeah. And we're basically seeing it right in front of our eyes, right? The idea of making us sick and then magically having the remedy to, or so they say, to not make us sick. Like, just this really detrimental cyclical thing that we're seeing. And it's so funny too, because with RFK's new food pyramid, how there's backlash against this, I'm like, this just shows you everything you need to know about how upside down our world is. But my viewers know I went on a whole body transformation mission and journey starting 3 years ago. So I follow loose keto, but I really watch my gym, diet, everything. And his new pyramid is basically what I do. And so I'm curious too for your thoughts on that and the fact that there is such backlash.
Well, I think that anybody that puts trust into any food pyramid, I mean, I think it this way, whether you want to look at it the way it used to be or the way it is now, we have 370 million people in this country. It's not going to work. Whatever food pyramid they have, whether it's right side up or upside down, it's not going to work for everybody. What I think that they need to really talk about is people taking it upon themselves and taking responsibility and going out and finding out what works for them. And I'll give you a great example. A number of years ago, I read a book called The China Study, and it talked a lot about being a vegetarian and all this and that, and being able to be healthy. And I'm like, this makes sense. And I had a couple of people who recommended that I ate a vegetarian diet for probably a year and a half, and I put on 80 pounds. Okay?
Wow, right.
Got huge. Okay? And so I said, well, this obviously doesn't work.
Right.
And so I went on to a keto diet, and I lost it. And I got down to where I'd like to be. I'd still like to lose about 20 pounds from where I am today. But I'm still not 80 pounds overweight. And so the point of that is, and I have a neighbor, a good friend of mine, who is a vegetarian. He'll eat fish once or twice a year. And Other than that, he's pretty clean eating and it works for him.
Yeah.
And so the thing is that what our public health agencies need to do is they need to encourage people not to go to their physician, because physicians don't know crap. They don't know crap about nutrition, but they need to go to a nutritionist and they need to figure out what works for them and their body. And a large part of that is, if you don't like eating lettuce and carrots, then probably being a vegetarian isn't going to be for you.
Sure.
You're not going to stick with it. So you have to find something that your palate works with. You have to find something that works with your body, that, however often you want to eat it. And a nutritionist is the person that you should go and work with on that, not a doctor.
You talk about what's best for you. And if we're going to go in the very real, yet politically incorrect route, but it is very real, even on a cultural level, right? Is the idea of, the body positivity wave. Like, right, again, my background is in Hollywood, all this, and how damaging that has been. And your work, from my understanding, is very obviously pro hygiene, transparency, somewhat like holistic, it seems like, as well. Again, like anti, so like, how do else I put? I get pharmaceutical produced, and that idea, like kind of back to basics. So what would you say? Because obviously it's like, why are we glorifying obesity when it's a real issue? Now we have the swing of the Ozempic trend and all of this. What would you say is like a basic, that may seem like common sense, but a basic hygiene practice or daily practice that people are missing right now, that is not drilled into our heads enough, and that you're like, guys, it's right in front of our nose, and why are we missing this?
Well, I think that it's been drilled into us enough that most people take a shower at least once a day. Okay. And we use soap and we wash our hands a couple of times throughout the day. Okay. I think that's a standard base, right? We can agree to that, because that's what we kind of agree. Where we start to differ, though, is, your dentist tells you to do what? Brush your teeth twice a day, right?
Yes, and I floss once a day, just so
Okay.
it's on record.
So brush your teeth twice a day, and what do they tell you to use in your toothpaste?
Fluoride.
Fluoride, okay? So they tell you to brush your teeth twice a day with a fluoride toothbrush, or fluoride toothpaste, sorry,
Yes.
and to floss. And that's the extent of what the dental community is telling us to do. And that is the absolute perfect example of what is wrong with our health establishment in this country. Because when you have a cavity, that is the symptom of the illness. The illness is a strep mutans bacterial infection in your mouth. That strep mutans, we've known this since 1924. That bacterial infection is strep mutans. It eats carbohydrates the same as we do. It breaks them down, metabolizes them, makes an acid. That acid dissolves the enamel. So the dentists are telling us to use fluoride, which remineralizes the enamel and makes it stronger. That's the whole concept behind it. They are telling, when was the last time you went to the dentist and they said, it looks like you have a bacterial infection in your mouth. We probably should take a look at that and maybe put you on something to get rid of that infection.
Never.
Yeah. So that's exactly what they do. And they have known that by using sugars like xylitol and erythritol, that you very extremely safely get rid of those bacteria. They have studies going back 50 years showing that.
So again, it just drives me nuts, because even with something like this, all the way to an extreme like the pandemic and the mandates we were seeing, I would go toe to toe with people, even in my family, even people I was close with, who would be like, what incentive would they have to do this, to not have our best interests at heart? Oh, they really want to make money? Like, who gives these powerful entities the benefit of the doubt? I don't know. I don't understand. And I get it. It's we all want to fall back on order and structure because it makes us feel safe. And that's what happened during COVID, right? But it just drives me crazy. It's like, what don't you see?
If anybody doesn't believe that a lot of our health system is based on making money,
Right.
I can give you a couple of examples. Have you ever heard of a doctor by the name of Sarah Jo Baker?
Mm-mm.
Okay, she was the first female doctor, and she was in the United States, and this is in the early 1900s. Maybe she wasn't the first female, but she was the very first one that was over the city of New York. And the mayor brought her in and said, "Hey, you know what? We're having all of these issues with all of these kids that are dying." And she came in, and within a year, she reduced the death rate by over 20% in 1 year, simply by teaching the mothers how to wash their hands and boil the milk before they gave it to their kids. That's it. And they reduced it. They continued to reduce it so much that the doctors' organizations of Manhattan lobbied the mayor to fire her. Okay?
Wow.
Doctors lobbied the mayor to fire the doctor that was saving the children and making it so they weren't sick. And their excuse was, "We're not going to have any business and we're all going to leave."
Wow. Okay. So there you go. Listen to that part again, because again, it drives me crazy when people give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, why? Why would they want to do that? Oh, they just want to make money. Yes, actually, yes. Like, it's right in front of our eyes. We have a question for you here in the comments. Where may one find products such as cough drops that use stevia rather than sucrose? Stevia. Yeah.
Well, we actually sell cough drops,
There you
and it's great to use stevia because one of the crazy things about cough drops, when you go down to the store and you buy some cough drops, what are they normally made with?
Sugar.
Sugar. So if you have a
I feel
sore
like I'm
throat,
acing this test.
so if you have a sore throat, let's say you have a strep infection,
To do. Yeah.
bacterial infection, what are you doing?
Just giving it
You're
more
feeding-
sugar.
You're feeding the bacteria that's causing your problem.
Yeah.
And granted, you might put some menthol in that's going to numb it, but you should always, always use a sugar-free cough drop. And if you use a natural one that's sugar-free, we make one.
I
There,
love
we sell
it.
at CVS and most of your natural retailers and CVS and online.
I gotta hop down, Nate, and get some before the storm hits Nashville and I've gone way more holistic. I used to be like the ginger ale girl, the this, the that, until I realized exactly what you just said. This is all sugar. So now I'm doing my little oil of oregano, my little elderberry. So try to get, do it the better way, not as mass produced. Okay, before we wrap here. So there was a lawsuit, the FTC, which is that coded for Fauci, basically, came after
the
you?
FTC, the FTC is the Federal Trade Commission.
Right.
And what their job is to make sure that what we say is true.
Yep.
That we're not lying. And they're very famous for moving the goalposts all over the place.
Yes, they are.
And in our case, in our simple little lawsuit, they moved them 3 times. And I mean, I can give you some examples from this lawsuit. It's absolutely absurd because we sent them all kinds of studies and data backing up every statement we made. And they acknowledged and admitted when we were deposing them during the course of this lawsuit that they could not provide a single person at the FTC who had actually opened and read any of the studies. Their reasoning was, if it was true, it would have been all over the news. Therefore, it's not on the news, so it can't be true.
Wow. And they came for you for, my understanding, deceptive COVID marketing. So boil it down, like human splain, basically in a sentence, why they came after you. And you ultimately was dismissed. You ultimately, won that. But yeah, what was their argument?
So the very first part of it is even prior to 2020, we had coronavirus respiratory infections. We had them. And on the CDC's webpage, it gave advice on how to treat and deal with a respiratory coronavirus infection. And the guidance from the CDC was to flush your airway, use a saline solution and just irrigate your nose to reduce the viral load so that it gives your body a longer chance to start creating antibodies and respond. And in And by April, May, in that time frame of 2020, there in Nashville at Vanderbilt University, they had already done a study showing that what worked prior to 2020 still, yes, worked after 2020.
I
And we
see.
had the data from that study, and we started talking about it. Other companies in our industry, like NeilMed and Navage, they had that data, and they started sharing it. And the FTC sent all of us warning letters and told us not to share the data. And those companies both backed down a
Wow.
couple of times. You know, one of them was headed up by a Marine, but he took her down. But both of those companies chose not to stand up. We stood up. Then there was another study that came out of, so let me explain. The whole reason why I got into this business is because in 1998, there was a paper published in the medical literature where they showed that xylitol blocked strep bacteria, H. flu, MCAT, a variety of respiratory bacteria pathogens from attaching to the human airway. And the logic is that if you can block it from attaching to your tissue, then you're obviously not going to get sick. That makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for 20 years, we had been out talking about how it blocks bacterial adhesion. In April of 2020, there was a study, another one that came out of Tennessee, but it came out of the University of Tennessee over in Knoxville, where they actually looked at xylitol and iodocarrageenan, which is a seaweed extract, and looked at how they blocked the ability of SARS-CoV-2 to adhere to the tissue.
Okay.
And they showed that even small amounts of xylitol blocked the ability of the virus to adhere to the tissue to an undetectable level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They couldn't even detect the virus.
Mm-hmm.
They were using xylitol to block adhesion. When that data came out, we actually went to the FDA and we tried to get some human studies off the ground. And we weren't asking them for money, but we had a hospital down in Florida that was willing to do the study. We had the doctors lined up. We had everything ready to go. And they said, well, you know, with COVID, you know, this is May of 2020 still. You probably should get the FDA. And so we went to the FDA and the FDA said, no, you can't do a study. That's a drug study. You can't do it on a cosmetic. And so that was all put on hold. We started, you know, trying to work some other things out. But at the end of the day, there was another company in England that did a study looking at using xylitol nasal sprays to prevent COVID.
Uh-huh.
And they did the study and they showed that it reduced COVID by over 60% just by using it twice a day.
Okay.
And they used half the concentration.
Okay.
And we went to the FTC and said, hey, here's the data. And they said, well, that isn't done with your exact nasal spray. And I said, okay, so the government blocks us from saying it. And at the end of the day, they dropped the lawsuit because they knew that they were going to lose and they didn't want to lose and have a demerit against them, I guess.
Yeah.
What they did is they waited, and my interpretation of their expert witnesses' statements, the government's witnesses, was that what they're saying is true and correct. They didn't do the studies exactly as you wanted them to do them, but the data is there to show that what they're saying is correct. And so at that point, the government dropped their lawsuit.
Okay. I mean, for me and most, I would hope normal thinking people, this is just a case in point story. With something that just drives me nuts is the control that attempts to be asserted over all of this and override experts such as yourself. And sorry, that's the cold meds talking. And how it's just baseless. Half the time you said, like, who even did the research? Who, you know, I'll never forget talking to Dr. Robert Malone, you know, a co-architect of the mRNA technology, and how he was completely destroyed, right, during this time and taken down. Yeah. But like a writer at CNN knows better about all this protocol, about the science than Dr. Robert Malone. Like it's a similar thing. It drives me absolutely insane.
So,
and you know what the sad thing is it destroyed so many lives. And it
didn't have to, because we
Right.
knew again in April, May of 2020, based on the data out of Vanderbilt, our Surgeon General, our FDA, this is prior to any vaccine, gene therapy, whatever you want to call it. Prior to that, they knew that using just a simple salt water made it a complete 100% non-issue.
Imagine that. And the way that it all became so stigmatized. I mean, even at the time, I was so vocal on my platform going, guys, we don't know. There's nothing, even the vaccines, like they're pushing, we don't know. They haven't had sufficient time to test. If you questioned it, it was like Scarlet Letter, right? You were branded as an other. And just what a time of such brainwash. I'm wondering two things before I let you go. One is, do you foresee something like that when it comes to the healthcare space happening again? Since we just saw it happen, could it happen again? And secondly, this came from a user on Instagram. Do you think that Fauci should go to jail?
I 100%. I think half of the members of Congress should be in jail.
I mean,
And I think that Biden should be. I think that Fauci should be. These are all people who knew, or they should have known better.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Berg, every single one of those. And even here in the state of Utah, our state epidemiologist, our Tony Fauci of Utah, we sent her all of the data. Her name was Angela Dunn. I really call her Angela Dunn, but she was a doctor. And we sent her all of the data, and her response was, well, I'm not going to talk about it. Not talk about our product. I'm not going to talk about salt water as part of the solution until the FDA tells me I can. What are we paying her for? You can pay a parrot to come up with what they were doing. Why are we paying her $250,000 a year to be a parrot?
Insanity. We have a great comment here from Jeff Golko, who is also a familiar face on the show. And he says how the government tried similarly, right, with the Dr. Robert Malone's, these other prominent voices and experts, quite frankly, in the field. Government tried to bleed you dry with legal bills. We're lucky you chose to fight. Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to ask you too, Nate, is, again, like I said, do you foresee another wave of this happening again? Because it's like now the government, now they know that they can. And also, were you worried? Were you like, this will strip me of my livelihood, my reputation? Or were you just, was every bone in your body like, no, I'm gonna go up against this and fight for it?
It's if you have the means to push back. But can I just tell you that our government and our public health agencies, they have already been doing this. And they've been doing it for 50 years. Okay, let's go back. What is the most predominant illness in the United States today?
Is it obesity?
No.
Oh, heart disease.
No, it's tooth decay.
Oh man, I was doing so well on my test.
Okay, it's tooth decay. And we have known, our public health agencies have known how to end it. For over 50 years, they've known how to end it. They know that if they go and they spend a couple of bucks and give children in schools xylitol gum, they don't get tooth decay for the next 20 years of their life. Wow. Do you know how many systemic illnesses have their roots in our mouth? Obesity, Alzheimer's, heart disease, even COVID. We knew in early 2020 that people that had periodontal disease, they were almost 10 times, they were 9 times more likely to be hospitalized and die if they caught COVID. 9 times. And not once did you hear Fauci or any of these people say, hey, brush your teeth.
It's all from a place of what is opportunistic in some way, shape, or form, right? I bring it back, even the whole body positivity swing. It's like, who is this benefiting? Why? To virtue signal and make you look good when people are suffering? Like, it's just beyond me. So, Nate Jones, thank you so much. In a world of Fauci's, guys, be a Nate Jones. Thank you for sticking up to these guys. Thank you for your service and what you've done. And last kind of, there's been a lot that's been said here that's been great, but what is the thing that, keeps you up, that bothers you most? Maybe it is in the mainstream narrative media about health that just really kind of grinds your gears. Like, last kind of thing that we should look out for that, really bothers you that we see a lot.
There's really 2 things. One is anybody that tells you that one size fits everything, we know that's not going to be right. You know, I mean, even with the gene shots, the vaccines, there's some people that helped with, but the vast majority of people it caused harm to.
Right. Right.
Okay. I mean, and anything that is like that. I mean, you see this push to make doctors or to encourage physicians to work with their patients and individualize medicine instead of having protocols for everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we are going to live in a world where you go to the doctor and they say, "Oh, symptom 1, 2, 3, yep, this is what you do. Here's a protocol. Do this protocol, and you're done." We might as well use Dr. Google.
Right. That's
There's
so
no
true.
going in and going to a human.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we've seen that movie before and it does not end well.
Yeah. And
So
go to your dentist and say, "Hey, you know what? I have a Purphomonas gingivalis infection in my mouth. What can I do to get rid of it?" And their answer is going to be brush and floss. And that's not the correct answer. The correct answer is use something with green tea in it.
there you go. I love that. And I'm going to leave it with this comment from John Legend. One size does not fit all. Trust the science. And I'll say the real science. I mean, similarly to what we talked about tonight, if you just common sense, guys, if you have that feeling like, I don't know, or this isn't adding up, or why are we, why is media or certain people, giving such backlash to healthier practices? Maybe just think twice, before you proceed. Thank you so much. Clear ink, everybody. Clear ink. Nate Jones, thank you for your time and for sticking it to the FTC.
Well, thank you.
Of course, my pleasure. We'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.
Chris, how was your pee break?
My pee break.
It might flash you.
Where them, baby?
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares. I too am a thought criminal. Good. Well, I like you
Does
already.
this look like a girl who's joking around? Messing around?
But how much do you actually understand money, especially the new wave?
Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite.